This town is infested with gangsters, see? And you're just the Elliot Ness type to clean it up. This is Sega Masters. We finally get something different other than a movie game, a sports sim, or an arcade port. In fact, we get to dust off the light phaser for some light gun action in Gangster Town, a cart that seems heavily influenced by the Legend of the Untouchables. So far, Sega's light gun titles offered little more than simple shooting gallery style gameplay, but in an interesting twist, Sega actually put in some effort to make this cart something more than the usual fare. This game casts you as an FBI agent out to rid a 1920s style city of the gangsters that infest it, and you can enlist a second player to provide some backup with a second light phaser, making this one of the few light gun games with simultaneous two-player support. After you fire the card up and get done entering your name, you first go through a brief training level that pits you against these police trainer targets. This prologue actually determines your health meter for the first stage by your hits, accuracy, and points scored. Once the level concludes, your performance is graded, and meeting the requirements in 2 of the 3 categories extends your life bar. Otherwise, it stays at 5 hearts as you go into battle for real. Then the game begins in earnest, and 6 levels await you, all swarming with pinstripe-wearing, Tommy gun-toting gangsters out to exterminate you. First up is this 3D style car chase scene where you fall behind the enemy vehicle on your way to the city, zapping the gangsters that peek out to take a shot back at you. Any robbers you plug turn into angels that fly into the sky, but in a sadistic twist you can nail them a second time for bonus points while causing them to fall off the bottom of the screen. I guess condemning them to purgatory or something. You also have to contend with this biplane that drops bombs you need to blast before they damage you as well. You can even attempt to shoot out the car's tires, causing it to skid off the road, though another vehicle will quickly appear to replace it. Eventually you reach the end of the scene, after which your performance is evaluated again, which happens after every stage you pass. If you do well enough, your life meter is refilled and extended for the next stage. The rest of the game is your standard auto-scrolling deal, starting with a shootout on the streets of downtown as you head to the next destination, while eliminating anyone in pinstripes along the way. As the thugs shoot back, your life meter enables you to take a limited amount of hits before you bite it, though most levels contain a special medallion that can replenish your health, if you find it. You also have to watch out for innocent females that wander into the scene, since accidentally shooting them will severely penalize you. The thugs may also try to use her as a hostage, prompting you to rescue her without nailing the wrong person. But don't worry, the females can't actually be killed in this game, they just drop to their knees crying. At the end of each level, a boss appears, and you must plug him multiple times to gun him down before you're executed in return. Successfully slaying the boss will allow you to move on to the next level after you get your performance grades and possible life bar extension. A bonus stage will appear after every 2 levels that challenges you to find a key by shooting out a series of brick walls within a given time limit. Not sure how this exercise relates to hunting down bad guys, but it's still an entertaining diversion. Successfully finding said key before the clock expires will power you up before you resume your gangster extermination. Next is the saloon, where you go back and forth in the room blasting baddies as well as any mice that wander in. That's followed by another street level, this time leading to a nightclub scene which works just like the saloon here. Finally, it's the docks for the final showdown. The core gameplay is simple like most other light gun games, but Gangster Town goes beyond that by providing some good fast-paced action with plenty of targets to shoot at, including objects in the background such as windows and bottles. The performance bonus following each stage is also a nice touch that encourages you to concentrate on accuracy instead of just wildly shooting up everything in sight, if you want to increase your chances of survival in the later levels. While the difficulty can seem slightly high at times, especially in the later levels where the action gets pretty frantic, it never really feels unfair. It's just a matter of being quick with your eyes and even quicker with the trigger finger. The light gun is fairly accurate, though it sometimes seems to register hits slightly to the right. And as usual, you can influence things by how far away you're holding it from the television screen. You do only have one life, which means once your life meter runs dry, it's game over. However, this cart gives you one continue if you can shoot the hat on the game over screen so that it flies back on your avatar's head. You then resume right back where you died at, but just be aware the game drops you back to 5 hearts. Even the visuals and audio are well done for the most part. Each of the stages consists of nice colorful backgrounds with smooth scrolling throughout, as well as well-drawn and animated enemies that react when you shoot their hats off. They're pretty much the same sprite throughout the game except for the bosses, and a little variety in your adversaries wouldn't have hurt. Even just some palette swaps. The light jazzy background tunes are pleasant to listen to and do a good job adding to the atmosphere. Even with its few flaws, Gangster Town is a surprisingly well-produced cart, even for a light phaser title. The engaging gameplay never gets boring and offers more depth than most other light gun games, with some good graphics and sounds to back it up. Having a second player gunning down baddies by your side is also a blast. All in all, Gangster Town is one of the gems of the early Master System library, and a great reason to invest in a light phaser.